Sorry, I had to unexpectedly end the other video because my wife was calling me. Um, in the last video, we were discussing a meritocracy. This is a system in which the best are promoted. It's also called an aristocracy. Aristocracy means rule or government by the best. That is, Plato and Socrates thought you have to take the best men, the wisest men and women. We should give power to women too and train them, teach them poetry, music, um, history, not simply politics. They should be cultivated, they should have all the qualifications necessary and then give them power. He also thought that we should engage in selective breeding. That is, the wisest, healthiest, most intelligent man should marry, should be with the wisest, the most intelligent, the healthiest women. They didn't know about genes yet back then. So whatever in them that makes them wise, intelligent, and healthy, when they have children, they will be able to pass those things on to their children. But he himself thought this system will not work. Even if he may have started with the best intention, you take the best men and women, train them, and make them king. Since the whole thing is based on a lie, because eventually the philosopher kings have to lie to everybody, tell them a beautiful story so they can accept their position again. If you're a worker, just work. If you're a farmer, just farm. If you're a shoemaker, just make shoes. Because you don't want a shoemaker, a farmer, a carpenter, somebody with no proper qualifications to become the king, the ruler. So just do your job, accept your position, don't ask any questions. Again, the children, they can go up and down, but not the parents themselves. He thought aristocracy or a meritocracy eventually will give rise to a timocracy. Timocracy is rule or government by men motivated by the love of honor rather than by the love of the common good. The government should be for the common good, but eventually people will prefer honor, worship. They wanted to bow down to them, praise them. Uh, but a timocracy is not the worst. From timocracy, he thought we would move to a plutocracy. A plutocracy is government by men who desire riches or wealth. In our modern world, it would be government by people who simply want money. Hmm. But a plutocracy is not actually the worst. He thought a democracy was the worst. Democracy means rule of the people, government by the people, government by the people, for the people, voice of the people. Notice in the United States, we believe we have a plutocracy, sorry, a democracy. Some people begin to question this. Some people believe what we have is a plutocracy, government where the people are motivated by money, or an oligarchy. Oligarchy means government by the few. That is, a few elite members, sorry, of society are in charge. Why? Um, let's say you're running for office, but you don't have that much money. So you go to your people in Florida and say, well, I want some money. I mean, help me. And I give you $20. Somebody gives you $20 and $50. But notice, if I'm a giant corporation, I can say, you know what, I'm going to fund your campaign. I give you a check for $5 million. $5 million. Then you get elected. You go to Washington or Tallahassee and say, I'm going to work for the people of Florida. Let's say when you get there, there's a bill on the floor. The bill favors your people in Florida. But me, the corporation that gave you $5 million, I'm against the bill. What do you do? Do you vote for me or do you vote for your people? See? Notice in the system, if you don't have money, you can't get elected. If you're working two jobs, you can't really run for office because, again, you have to pay your bills. The election of Obama and John McCain, I think, cost almost $4 billion. $4 billion. If you're a poor person, then you say, how can you play this game? So money largely determines who gets elected. Right? So again, we believe we have a democracy, but it sounds like it's more like a plutocracy where money rules, money is the king. Or some would say it's an oligarchy, you take a few families. For example, the Bush family or the Clinton family, they governed the country for a um, long time. But again, Plato thought democracy is the worst form of government. Why? In 2008, I think, yeah, John McCain versus Obama. I was working for Starbucks back then. I asked a fellow coworkers who she worked for, who she voted for. She said she voted for John McCain. I asked her why. She said, "Well, I voted for John McCain because my father gave me $20. My dad gave me $20. That's why I voted for John McCain." The president of the United States is the most powerful man in the world. He's the leader of the free world. If you're going to if you're going to vote for the most powerful person in the world, should the vote be based on $20? Should you vote if you don't know why you're voting? This is why Plato and Socrates thought democracy is bad, because you allow the workers, the people who are driven by passions, by desires, not by reason, not by wisdom, you allow them to vote. The wisest people should make the choice, should decide who get elected, not the uneducated masses. So this was the question, should everybody be allowed to vote? See? Let's say somebody's mentally ill, should they vote? Obviously not, because they don't know why they're voting. Children don't get to vote. Why? Because again, they don't really understand this stuff yet. If you're in prison, you're not allowed to vote. But what if you're voting for somebody because somebody offer you $20? Should you be allowed to vote? What if you're voting for no reason at all? Should you be allowed to vote? You see, in a democracy, you could vote for somebody because he's good looking, because he's eloquent. Voting should be based on policy, education, healthcare, foreign policies. These are the important things. The economy, you know. But what if you simply like the guy? Should you vote for him? Should I vote for somebody because he's black like me? Should I vote for somebody just because he's a Christian just like me? In a democracy, then you could vote for whatever the hell you want. You don't need to be educated. You don't need to be an informed voter. You don't need to know why you're voting. You just vote. Now, one way to fix that, you could say, well, what if there's a test people have to pass before they vote? Just to make sure that they know why they're voting, there should be some sort of test that they have to pass. But this would make it worse. What if we say, well, for you to vote, you need to have an high school diploma, a college degree first before you can vote? This would simply disenfranchise some people. Having a college diploma doesn't mean you know why you're voting. Not having a college diploma doesn't mean you're dumb and stupid, therefore you shouldn't vote. See? And if we have a test You have to pass for you to vote. Then who will make the test? How do you make sure the test is fair, objective, not biased? You see? So this is why the government allows people to vote. As long as you're 18 years old, you're not in prison, you're allowed to vote. It doesn't matter why you're voting. You could vote because the guy is 6 feet tall. You love people who are 6 feet tall, then you vote for them. See? So again, this is exactly why Plato Socrates thought democracy was bad. For you to be a nurse, you have to go to school and study this stuff. For you to be a teacher, you have to go to school and study this stuff. For you to be a carpenter, you have to learn it. Everything in life we learn how to do. We learn how to dance, how to play music, how to play football. But notice, for you to vote, you don't need to learn anything about voting, anything about policy, anything about the economy, foreign policy, and healthcare and education. You can vote for whatever the hell you want. Everything else in life requires qualifications. But voting doesn't really require much. Again, as long as you're 18 years old, you don't have a criminal record, you're not in prison, you can vote. So that's why they thought voting was, sorry, democracy was for the mob, was for the masses. It's not a good system because it allows the ignorant people who don't know enough, it allows them to influence the process. The founding fathers of this country, they studied Greek philosophy. They knew that. This is why you have the electoral college in this country. What if the people vote for the wrong person? What if the people vote for a con artist, for a con man, for an evil man, for a demagogue? What if the people vote for a person who's not qualified at all? The founding fathers, they knew this could happen. So this is why they instituted also the electoral college vote. Because you simply cannot simply go with the will of the people, with what they want. What if the people don't even know what they want? They vote for a guy just because. Then the electoral college allows the so-called wise people, educated ones, to override the will of the people. Yes, that is even though you voted for this guy or for this woman, but we know, we perceive this man is not a good man. It's not fit for the country. It's not fit for office. He doesn't have the qualifications. Therefore, we're going to choose somebody else. It was a good idea, but except the founding fathers, they didn't know the country was going to be so divided by left and right, Republicans and Democrats. See, some people will vote Republican no matter what. Some people will vote Democrat no matter what, even if the person is not qualified. See. So, um, meritocracy, aristocracy promote the best people. Democracy, government by a man who desire honor, not the love the love of the common good. Plutocracy, government by a man who desire wealth, riches, money nowadays. Oligarchy, government by a few. Democracy, rules or government by the people. And lastly, he thought eventually democracy will lead to um, tyranny, pretty much. Tyranny is when the people submit themselves to a strong man. For example, um, North Korea. This is also called an autocracy. Autocracy is a form of government in which one person possesses unlimited power. A form of government in which one person has unlimited power. In North Korea, for example, the leader, King something, he has complete control over everyone. Russia is not quite an autocracy. Vladimir Putin has a lot of power, but notice there's an opposition. People can go into the streets and protest. Of course, they will go to prison. Of course, also in Russia, I mean, people vote. In North Korea, there's no voting. There's no opposition. You've never seen on television people in the streets of North, uh, people in that country, they're protesting in the streets. You've never seen that. So this is complete autocracy dictatorship. Monarchy is government by a king, rule government by a king. The United States rejected that. In fact, we fought against the um, British monarchy back then um, to build this country. And lastly, theocracy is ruled by religious leaders, rule government by religious leaders. We don't have this here. This is why we have separation of church and state, because the founding fathers knew how dangerous it was. Because when politics and religion get mixed, people may use the power of the government to persecute other people. Theocracy, a country like, hmm, let's see, Iran, for example, that's what they have. That is the religious people. They're in control of everything. In the Old Testament, in the Bible, that's what we have. In Iran, for example, you see you have to cover your head. Women have to cover their heads. If they don't do so, there are law enforcement officials in the streets who will force them to um, cover their heads. So again, you probably don't want this. I know even in this country, there are some people who would love that because the founding fathers they were Christians or influenced by Christianity. So we sort of have a Christian heritage, but slowly, the country is drifting away from Christianity. So some people would like things to go back the way they are. But again, since from the start, it's written in our rules, in our laws, that the government and the church should be separated because, again, we don't want people to use the power of the government to persecute other people. If we don't do so, you see what's going to happen. Let's say this year the Christians they win the election, and they're going to change the rules to benefit Christians. Let's say next year the Muslims they win the election, then they're going to change the rules to benefit Muslim. And the year after the Buddhists, then the Hindus. You see, whichever religious group is in power is going to use the power of the government to make rules to benefit them. And we know many people came to this country because they were running away from religious persecution in the United States, allows people to freely worship God against based on the conscience. The government cannot force you to go to church on a Sunday, for example, right? So these are some of the forms of government that we have. Again, meritocracy, aristocracy, mean rule of the best, timocracy, rule government by men who love honor, and then plutocracy, government or rule by men who want money, wealth, oligarchy ruled by a few, monarchy ruled by a king, autocracy, government in which one person has complete power, um, tyranny, submission to what a strong man wants, and democracy, what we have in the United States, is rule of the people. Again, it's questionable whether or not this is what we have, because again, money is the most important thing, and theocracy is ruled by the religious folks. Right. Thank you for watching.